see one.
What in the name of Tartarus just happened here? It's all in flames. What caused this? I better run away from this place.
Many hours later.
Well, chaps, sorry for the delay there. Welcome to Unova Studies, with Unova as your lovely host. Today we are going to the penultimate episode of the Equestria Games arc, and see what its impact was to it. It's... Rainbow Fall. Hold up. I have to be straight with you viewers. This episode is something that seems nice on the surface, but inside, if you think hard enough about it, it is riddled with flaws that hold it back from being truly great. Corey Powell made this episode become so much more important than other slice of life episodes in the season as well as the arc by incorporating not one, but two season 4 plot lines, and also adds in Rainbow's long-standing aspiration for becoming a Wonderbolt. The truth is, this episode is what broke the camel's back of the Equestria Games arc's potential. Wanna know what I mean? Listen in and find out. The episode begins with irrationally having Rainbow Dash, Pep Top Fluttershy, and Snowflake, Bulk Biceps, for applying to the game's tryouts for the aerial relay team. Wait! Fluttershy is gonna try to compete in a competition that has multiple ponies trying out and being around her? And if they make it in, countless ponies from different regions of Equestria will come in to see her in action? Is this the same Fluttershy we've had in the show? Because a few episodes in this season, we have Philly Vanilli contradicting what we see Fluttershy, with her trying to come into grips about her singing on stage with ponies watching her. This type of situation, despite it not being an activity that is a hobby she likes doing on her own, it is still the Tartarus she tries to avoid at all costs as a filly, even if it is an honor to partake in. And then Bulk in the beginning shows less capability to fly than his two prior outings in Season 2 and 3. All of this shows little care to continuity when it comes to the story's beginning. Even if continuity isn't essential to making a good episode, this is downright distracting to the very observant / die-hard fan of this show, who would notice if their prior appearances would contradict with the reality this episode presents. Moving on to another matter for this episode on the start, the story doesn't present a lot of reasons and or logic from the perspective of Fluttershy, Bulk, or Rainbow. The questions that hang in my mind are, how many Pegasi / other ponies can enter the preliminaries? What percentage is really needed to get a town officially entered into the games? What motivation Bulk had to want to join the aerial relay team? And what other things the Pegasi of the town were doing instead of representing Ponyville, since they can allow flyers with no track record in athletics and such. The preliminaries are just so vague in qualification that I can't really see the validity of having Rainbow do this competition with those two. Following that, let's talk about the secondary characters. Most of them sucked. We have Bulk Biceps, essentially being the muscled up dumb stallion of the team. Aside of certain parts where he can show his cute side in the form of whimpering, I just couldn't like the character that they chose for him, and reasoning for choosing this particular pony. Applejack and Rarity both felt entirely unneeded, as they were filler served to make Rainbow's options later on essentially equal on both fronts by being so annoying and awful. Rarity's dressmaking went to a new low as a result of this decision, and I can't approve of downgrading character traits for a joke / argument about staying with them. Applejack, on the other hoof, was being forceful, hammering it in the fact that she brought Apple Brown Betty to the preliminaries and was even shoving it down Rainbow's throat. Literally. Fluttershy also had some redundant dialogue for her lines where she was commenting on the situation at hand and was using synonyms a bit too much. Twilight's was probably my biggest offense when she had one of the most weakest arguments she could have given to Dash in the reveal scene, probably since the episode's display of Twilight's side of the debate was essentially defeated before she can even retort back, with her friend's contributions not amounting to much. And the team feels like a pity entry. Plus, she is Rainbow's friend. Can't she at least sympathize with her desires of actually being in a team of her heroes? And also, she kinda looked gaudy with the rainbow rig. It just doesn't work for you, girl. But there were still some characters who were salvaged from the destruction. Pinkie felt normal for me, if a bit in your face at some points. Fluttershy was definitely the best main 6 member for understanding Rainbow's plight, and would have understood if she didn't want to be in the team anymore for her dream. Right there is a true friend Rainbow has, no doubt. Where was that friendliness now, Princess of Friendship? I mean, Twilight still had some good advice in this episode for Rainbow's case. Don't just not choose, as this decision would hurt both teams she liked for their chances in the games. Then we had the antagonists for the episode, Spitfire and Fleetfoot. My god, look at how everyone reacted to the douchey side of the Wonderbolts. Looking down on their competitors, taking resources from other teams to make their own units much more stronger. I should probably hate them with all of my heart, right? Well, maybe this is just another facet of the Wonderbolts. They didn't really oversee the cadets in Wonderbolts Academy, which led to the rise of the ruthless lightning dust. They were sent without a plan against a wingless dragon and got defeated like that. And even in their first canon appearance, they got knocked out by a frailing rarity falling thousands of feet below, and it was up to Rainbow Dash to save them all. These characters and the team itself have been the best without competition, so they became much more sinful in their acts against fellow teammates and competitors. Rainbow just might be the wake-up call the whole organization needs if they want to continue to succeed, either in making a whole new team for our aspirations to grow, or reforming the team from within. Now we've reached Rainbow going full on bad acting.
This scene hurts you, doesn't it?
What was that? Who was just speaking to me just now?
I'm just a friend wanting to help you.
I don't know about that strange voice.
My advice should help your review flourish, don't you think?
Well, it's debatable considering my lack of knowledge about you.
Give it the same pain you felt. It's okay to release your frustration.
Yeah. I can't defend this! This episode deserves to burn! Oh my Celestia, this is one of the most badly done, cringe-inducing things I have ever seen! Get that piece of trash out of my video. I've had it!
Yes, give in to your rage. Let it consume you as you give the episode the amount of spite it deserves!
Yes!
It's worthless and shouldn't be bothered with, just like yourself. Am I right?
No, it doesn't.
Say what now?
This episode was poorly written from a logical sense when it comes to establishing its rules for itself. And the continuity of the characters' behaviors and actions seems all types of wrong. But it has some admirable parts. For me, this isn't a retread of Wonderbolts Academy or even the premiere. This is Rainbow dealing with the issue of the worth of victory versus her new home desire to compete. The Wonderbolts had some shady motivations, such as removing an okay member of their group for another, and the Ponyville team seemed to be a flawed group of individuals trying to emulate the other team's practices without consoling others to okay those decisions. They both have positives and their negatives. Rainbow had to realize that her fading loyalty to both was a weakness created by her desire to be triumphant, but if she did achieve that through untruthful means, wouldn't the victory feel hollow? Would the goal become more worth it if you went the easy way, or go the more honorable route with your hometown? The Olympics. The event the Equestria Games are based on are about showing your nationality pride, and this episode shows the importance of that matter, of which team you should be in, is to follow your heart, and qualities to pick the more rugged choice, even if you get ire for doing so. It was what you picked for initially.
Are you serious? You picked yourself up from that raw emotional display to return to your calm self? How?
I don't know who you are, voice. But the reason is a determination to truly review episodes, not blind myself with lies or others' feelings for the episode. That was what almost happened here. But if this is going to be my review, I'm going to do it without others' influence and base it on my own opinions and my own feelings. I was just going to follow the same path others have done for this episode, and that wouldn't have been original at all. It would have been copy and paste all over again. And by the way, I do mean something to others. I don't know what exactly, but I do have intrinsic value.
See, this is why I hate you. You always seem so self-righteous. But one day, that attitude will get you killed, and you will pay for your mistreatment you have done to others. This is not the last time you hear of me, boy.
That just proved you weren't a friendly presence. You were just out to get me. Okay, that was very ominous. But now that thing is gone, what is next? Oh yeah! Let's talk about Rainbow Falls' place in the Equestria Games arc. It seemed to be a mistake to show the preliminaries featured in this episode. My explanation for this train of thought is in the ending of this episode, it shows the Wonderbolts nearly beating the Ponyville team by twice their speed combined. The time session, despite it not being mentioned earlier in the episode, also shows how much the Ponyville team nearly failed due to Fluttershy and Bulk essentially taking as much time as the Wonderbolts run. All of this conjecture is based on my observation of the episode and the events that have played out. This means any potential for a future story involving Rainbow Dash and other competitors is gone, as they are not as important as the Wonderbolts being in the same competition. We obtain the information that the Wonderbolts are a sure win essentially in this competition from this episode alone. Because no matter how much Fluttershy and Bulk train, they're not going to be able to compete with competitors that have trained most of their lives for such events like this. So needless to say, all surprise is thrown out of the window as a result of this episode's findings. Also, this episode just raised the stakes even higher for the game to be an even more fantastic event to be shown in the finale of this arc. But really, the problem that this arc had was that the viewers were expecting something that might have never occurred at all, a purpose never existing in the first place. All the stories up to this point have used the games as a motivation for the main characters to achieve. However, we get little information about the games themselves and what part it plays for Equestria. This shouldn't have happened this way. All the preparation for one episode and then have all of that go down the chute for an unexpected Spike episode for the end. My Little Pony has shown to us by going through this arc that it didn't handle the concept and development of this story arc very well, since it wanted to hold up the mandate of slice of life narrative while having a big event on the horizon, yet not wanting to go that far in detail in fears of alienating its audience. This is more of a thematic arc, a set of episodes devoted to a concept that was never truly realized by the show staff. This episode is going to get the mediocre tier rating. I thought initially that this episode was the worst of the worst, but I was just caught up with all the negative reviews of this episode. I felt justified in raging and bullying the episode over it, but that was just wrong of me. Despite its flaws, it is still watchable. People are able to enjoy it despite those flaws, even me. I can see why people actually like this episode. Rainbow went through something similar to Wonderbolts Academy's hard conflict, and it was a good ride even if it was riddled with flaws up the flank. Now, while I work on my next review, I need to figure out who was that voice urging me to ruin my review by having me give in to destructive emotions. And what is the source of the fire that seems to come out of me for some reason? Tune in next time for the next episode that is going to be the Equestria Games. Finally. Until then, this is Unova signing off.